you can still deliver the numbers that will get you interest going forward. So that could be the kind of, the one key suggestions that I would give. And the second is that be clear what you're doing in terms of the market, in terms of the customer, right? In terms of the depth of the market. That is very important, right? I can raise say 10 million or 20 million from the investors, but ultimately when you go back and then you try to execute it, you realize the market is very shallow. You're not able to grow the market. So be kind of, understand and clearly in terms of define the market for you. Once you do that, you will have much clarity in terms of how you can grow and what is the means to take to grow that. Whether it's capital, internal capital, external capital, you should not raise more capital that is not required, because with respect to investors, I have been an investor myself. At times, investors push you to deliver certain numbers which the company or the market is not ready to accept.
I think we've seen the example of that in last couple of months with Paytm stock price falling dramatically post its listing, and now Mama Earth is facing the heat, so asking for exorbitant valuations. While I'm sure the founders will always justify the valuations they are asking, and they also face, like said, they face a lot of investor pressure. But I think that there's a big learning there also. We're not trying to get into controversies, but huge lessons there.
Yeah, if the money is available, any entrepreneur will take it, right? You need to grow it. If you want to grow from 30 to 100 down, 2 years down the line.
But इतने सर्दी में पैसे के ऊपर मत खर्चना. It's not always advisable. A lot of people may have that opinion that when there's a funding crunch, you're laying off people, and then on the other hand you're signing a celebrity. So that may be my opinion. I'm sure others may have their opinion on that. But so moving on, so you made a very valid point that you take the money from the investors, huge amounts of money, and then realize that the market is very shallow. So I'm just digressing from the topic a little bit. So both of you are in the markets which have a lot of scope to scale up, and you've already scaled up to quite an extent. Going forward, how do you maintain that balance? Itna paise hai, scaling up appropriately, not going haywire, and staying on track to achieve that growth.
So if I got your question correctly, now with this funding environment, how you manage to grow? Is that you are asking?
So I just share your experience. Once you get the funding, you have all this pressure to execute and scale up. Then how do you go about it? Share your experience. How did you actually scale up?
Okay. So उसमें एक और point है आपका on the market being shallow, right? That is very very important. A lot of time we fall in love with an idea and then we execute. And I did the same. I think हर कोई इस journey में जाता है. So in 2014 I started a company which was in offline media delivery कि अगर आप बस में जा रहे हैं, एट दैट टाइम जियो वगैरह इंटरनेट इतना अच्छा नहीं था, फ़ोन की स्पेसेस भी इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं थी. सो द आइडिया केम कि अगर हम इस बस में जा रहे हैं या फ्लाइट में जा रहे हैं तो स्क्रीन हर जगह होना इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल एंड एवरीबडी हैज़ अ मोबाइल. लेट अस मेक अ क्लाउड, एक छोटा क्लाउड बनाते हैं, बस में लगाते हैं, एंड एवरीबडी विल वॉच मूवीज़. इंटरनेट की ज़रूरत नहीं है, वी विल हैव अ लोडेड कॉन्टेंट इन दैट बॉक्स एंड everybody will connect to the box and watch movies without internet at a very very high speed. एंड वेरी वेरी एक्साइटिंग आइडिया. ये तो बहुत ही सही लग रहा है, नीड है. हम भी बस में जाते हैं, ट्रेन में जाते हैं लेट्स से, तो 12 घंटे क्या करेंगे, राइट? नेट भी नहीं चलता है. एंड देन आई सेव्ड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी इन माई लास्ट कंपनी विच वॉज इलेक्ट्रोमेटल्स. डिड दिस कंपनी फॉर लाइक 6 to 8 months, इन्वेस्टेड माई ओन कैपिटल. एंड जब मैं मार्केट में गया तब मुझे पता चला कि यार ये अगर मैंने सारी बसें, सारी ट्रेन, सारी फ्लाइट भी ऑक्यूपाई कर ली तो इसका इतना ही मार्केट होता है, राइट? उस मार्केट में भी तुम 100% नहीं रहोगे तो इतने परसेंट रहोगे, उसमें भी तुम्हें इतना शेयर मिलेगा, इतना मार्जिन बन सकता है. एंड द ओवरऑल मार्केट सब कुछ करने के बाद भी 1000 करोड़ 2000 करोड़ का मार्केट बनता है. एंड नाउ इफ यू आर आस्किंग समबडी कि आप मेरे को इस पे लेट्स से 20 करोड़ या 30 करोड़ दे दो, दे विल सी कि अच्छा इसमें 1000 2000 करोड़ का मार्केट है, तुम उसमें एक प्लेयर लोगे 50% भी तुम्हारा शेयर है, उसमें से तुम्हें इतना मिलेगा, हाउ मच बिग द कंपनी वुड बी, एंड दैट डज नॉट मेक सेंस बिकॉज वो 20 करोड़ का चार्जेस भी नहीं होगा, राइट. सो इट इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू definitely when you start you identify whether the market is big or not. Definitely जब आप इन्वेस्टर के पास जाएंगे तो पता चल ही जाएगा कि मार्केट छोटा है, बिकॉज द फर्स्ट थिंग दे विल डू इज स्टडी द मार्केट एंड दे विल टेल कि अच्छा जितना भी काम किया है उतना इसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है, give your life to something else, and that is what I exactly did. Coming to the second point, शिफाली, इसकी जैसे ही पता चला कि हाँ यार अगर लाइफ लगानी है तो बड़े मार्केट में लगाते हैं, बड़ी चीज़ को क्रैक करते हैं, राइट. कुछ नया कुछ ऐसा करते हैं जहाँ पे पूरी लाइफ भी लग गई तो मार्केट खत्म नहीं हो रहा, एंड दैट इज़ वेयर वी स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम द फार्मा मार्केट इन इंडिया. We wanted to solve some B2B problems in pharma market. As soon as we started solving those B2B problems through technology, we got exposed to the market of generics in India. And that is where we felt कि इंडिया का जो इतना बड़ा मार्केट है, that is something which is ripe for disruption. That branded is being sold, generics is being sold as branded. People are not aware, and that is why it is happening. As soon as people get aware, they will switch to generics, and they will need an entity जो उनको सही कीमत पे सही quality की medicines available कराए. And that is where we switched ourselves, and the market was big. We started with our own capital. And as we grew and as we demonstrated our investor, क्योंकि इसके पहले हमारे investors ने invest कर रखे थे, as we demonstrated number कि जब हमने पहला store डाला, इसकी economics क्या है, इसकी growth क्या है, month on month how we are growing, and we put our own capital to grow to 2 to 5 stores, and that is where the other investors became very interested कि यार ये this looks to be a real problem to be solved. It is a very very big market ripe for disruption. And that is where we raise capital to grow ourselves into further geographies, and that is what we have done so far. And we have been fortunate that when we started, है ना, जब हमने चालू किया था, जब हम टेक बना रहे थे तब तो हमने अपना कैपिटल यूज़ किया था, but when we were doing this as Generico at that time, we put our own capital. So we were at that time very very, जैसा वर्गीस जी ने कहा कि very mindful of where we are putting money, how is our unit economics, and that has helped us in long run that all our stores are being profitable. We are only putting money in marketing and our team, which we can always reduce in. So these are variable costs which we have built and which helps us in an winter like this. So the growth has been really good. बट वन थिंग आई रियली वांट टू टेल, एक और चीज़ जो शायद हर किसी स्टार्टअप की लाइफ में भी आती है, इज़ जब पैसा होता है तो हम बहुत सारी चीज़ें करते हैं, राइट. कुछ चीज़ें फेल होती हैं और पैसा बहुत सारा जल जाता है. जब पैसा नहीं होता तब आप बहुत इनोवेटिव हो जाते हो, बिकॉज अब आपके पास बहुत लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज हैं और ग्रो भी करना है, क्योंकि वो तो इनहेरेंट फीलिंग है, ग्रो तो करना है, अब पैसा नहीं है, देन यू डू अ लॉट ऑफ इनोवेटिव थिंग्स विच हेल्प्स यू ग्रो व्हाइल यू डोंट पुट मनी. Had you have money, आप वो सोचते ही नहीं और उतना critical thinking ही नहीं आता है. You always put money to gain growth, and I think that is another advantage of being into winter, that a lot of companies are becoming more and more innovative in how they approach their market, how they do things, which will help them in long run as well.
Okay, so Shashank, so are you being innovative in the current times? How much innovation have you done? And cost cutting measures, what are you doing with your product, changes in the product, reaching out to the market? How are you doing, how are you managing all of that?
Right. Very, very relevant times to certain things which was how our company started anyways. Even in our company, the efficiency of each employee, each dialysis machine is what defines what is my unit economics. So we did not need a winter to tell us that जब मैंने 5 मशीन बिठाए हैं तो मुझे 300 डायलिसिस होने चाहिए. This was our mandate right from the beginning. Even if you see the show, Ashneer ji said the same thing, that in your business, efficiency and occupancy of the machines is everything. So in our case, what we do is obviously what I said, what are the wastages? We always control those wastages right from the beginning. The other thing what we do is periodically we always go back and check our inventory of our equipment, of our human resources. I don't know if long back I used to do what defragmentation hota tha, like Microsoft, you know, जो software run होता है ना, you do a disk cleanup. Yeah, right. So those blue boxes and all that, all your memory locations get stacked up. All right, and you want to make sure that is so much is the memory, everything is stacked up properly, unnecessary files are removed. So that disk cleanup we always have been running in 2.5 years. We've been pitching to investors and all that, but we are a brick and mortar, operational heavy company in healthcare space, that too in chronic illnesses. So investors are definitely going to ask us, "Ke bhai, what is your unit economics?" It's not a tech company in which today there are 5 users, 5,000 users, 5 million users. ऐसा नहीं होता है. In healthcare, numbers matter differently. If there are 25 people who die in China because of a new bacteria or a virus, it will be a national news. So, the customer base the scale is very different. We are not a tech company. So for us, unit economics, bhai, 100 rupees pay, how much money are you making? Is it 125? Is it 130? Is it 115? Plus, brick and mortar mein kya hota? There is a lot of supply chain, there is a lot of inventory, travel, transport and all that. Anything at any place goes wrong. If you do not have a very tight control over each and every parameter, you will end up in huge loss. This is the problem with brick and mortar. Fortunately, I come from a background which, with GE Healthcare and Philips Electronics, in which, all these things, unit efficiency of each and every screw is very important. We've been wired that way. So these winters, बात तो सही है, इसमें ये सब करना चाहिए. हम अभी थोड़ा और tightly कर रहे हैं, but we've been doing this since right from the inception of our company in 2019.
Okay, so from raising the funds and surviving the winter angle, I actually want to move to the investing part. But before that, I just one question, sir. I'll come back to you for that. In your memory, any of the startups which managed to beat down all odds and just come back